please welcome Pluralsight Chief Product Officer, Gary Eimerman.
Yeah! What a start already. Last night with the Best in Tech Awards and Aaron and team kicking it off this morning. This is a fun event, and it is really, really good to be back here in person together. If this is your first Pluralsight event, welcome. You're now part of the family. These are special events. And in a world where we are all overbooked, and it's just become the new normal, thank you for taking the time out to come join us and spend this time for the next couple of days. We're going to have a lot to share here. Everyone in this room, every single one of us, including Pluralsight, are facing similar problems right now. And we can all learn from each other to enhance the value that we deliver to our customers through technology. Please just use this time to learn and to share and to connect with each other. In my conversations with everyone leading up to this event, I keep hearing the same themes. There's 3 of them that keep hitting me. We're all facing headwinds right now. There's the macroeconomic pressure. There's also that time and just too many competing priorities. And then there's the war on talent, both in attracting and retaining. And what you are all needing right now is objective data to help you make decisions. And also, how do you have real impact? Training has to be focused on outcomes, and just having access to information is no longer good enough. Basically, we are being asked to do more with less. The good news is, here at Pluralsight, we are positioned uniquely to help you address these challenges. In a climate where the skills that are needed are scarce, and hiring budgets are actually getting more and more scarce, we help you do what Aaron talked about earlier, become creators of talent. With the premium tech skills content focused on upskilling and reskilling the most critical needs, we also have the objective, quantified data with Skills IQ and analytics. And of course, you've got the services that tie it all together to show real impact for you and your teams. Pluralsight is your technology workforce partner, and the offering with Skills is foundational to that success. We are thrilled that so many of you are doing this in a really, really tangible way. Over 6 million Skill IQs have been awarded. That is 6 million quantified and benchmarked individuals on our platform, empowering both the learners and the leaders to understand their strengths and gaps, showing the skill ups and moving people from novice to expert. And guess what? We are just getting started with this. This kind of data helps you drive real ROI. Here's an example from BT. We've worked with them to do a study, and they found that they saved over 12.5 million pounds. Let that sink in for a second. 12.5 million pounds in savings in a single year working with Skills to increase productivity and quality of work. We are committed to helping every single one of you see these kind of meaningful results through the investment in your technology skills. And what this means is that we have to constantly be evolving and improving our own experiences for all of you to deliver more and more value. So today, I am honored to share this stage with friends and team members of the Skills team as we dive deeper into the newest fit-for-purpose offerings available with Pluralsight Skills, all announced earlier. First is our experience with cloud. Now, this isn't a usual cloud experience. This is one that's helped in developing cloud talent and drive cloud innovation, the ACG offering. Far beyond just certification content, this is in everything that you need to know and help you on that cloud transformation journey, whether you're just getting started or that you're already up and to the right on the cloud maturity curve. Our team's gonna demo the newest experience for ACG, custom Cloud Sandboxes, here in just a moment. Second, we're focusing on enabling you to have that tech fluency across the entire company. As you talk about the talent transformation, we're going to dive deeper in showing you exactly how Tech Foundations works. And third, we all talk about this very commonly, is the need to have a culture of learning. Well, we're going to learn more about leading companies building a culture of learning with the VP of Learning, Dave Carnes at Travelers Insurance here in a couple minutes. And then fourth, we're going to help you see the value and make the decisions with all this activity they're getting within Pluralsight Skills with the goodness that our actionable insights and analytics provide. All of this is here to help you programmatically drive upskilling at scale. Success tomorrow is going to be driven by investing in our people today. And so I'm excited to share how we're going to make that a little bit easier and a little bit better for all of you. So joining me all the way from Australia is soon-to-be dad of two, Ben Henderson, SVP of Skills Cloud. He's going to share a little bit more about our cloud offering. Ben, take it away.
Thanks, Gary, and g'day, Utah. Apologies in advance for my big head up on the screen. I wish I could be there with you in person, but I am looking forward to meeting and catching up with so many of you during our sessions this week where we get together and talk about cloud. Now, last year when Pluralsight acquired a cloud guru, I had the pleasure of joining Gary and the team to continue our mission to teach the world to cloud. A mission that remains as relevant today as it did 7 years ago when Sam and Ryan first started ACG. Arguably even more so given the growth of cloud since then and the ubiquitous nature of cloud technology in almost every area of tech today. And I'm proud to say that a year on, the team remains laser focused on delivering the best product, content, and being the best partner for organizations not just wanting to get started in the cloud, but also for those wanting to develop that deep cloud expertise and specialization that they need to be successful at scale. And I've been asked many times, what is the ACG difference? And to answer that, I want to bring back that stat that Aaron cited earlier, that despite 75% of leaders building new products in the cloud, only 8% of technologists, aka the people that we actually need to do that work, reporting that they had extensive experience with cloud tools. Now that's a shocking statistic, but it really talks to something that I hear from customers every week, that this is a real problem, not having this practical experience and expertise to actually execute on their cloud strategies. It's holding them back from innovating and ultimately seeing the return on their investment in cloud. But how did we get here? Well, the cloud skills gap has been widening for years, as most of you would know, with the rapid rate of innovation and growth in the industry. But the start of the pandemic marked an unprecedented acceleration in both cloud adoption and cloud maturity. And it shows now no sign of slowing down. In the 9 months till September alone, cloud job postings are up nearly 31% year on year. That's a huge amount of growth for an already fast-growing industry. So you can understand why there's a concerted effort for organizations in cloud, more so than almost any other area in tech, to become that creator and not just the consumer of that in-demand cloud talent, as Gary has called out. And for many teams, that means building it from the ground up. And that often starts with a push for cloud certification, which makes sense, right? Certifications are a great way to develop and validate core cloud knowledge and capabilities. But the challenge with certifications is that on their own, they don't ensure or prepare learners to be ready to do the job in the real world. And from a business perspective, you really don't want the first time a newly certified cloud employee tries to solve an infrastructure or a tricky security problem in the cloud in your live production environments. And this is the challenge. Given that push for certification, how do those folks then move from having that theoretical understanding to having the practical experience that they need to be trusted to do the job in prod? Now, to solve this at ACG, we integrate hands-on practice and assessment into every certification and course that we release. And on top of that, we develop deep dives that go well beyond the core concepts needed just to check the box, so that learners really understand not only the foundational skills, but the core of everything that they need to know to operate in the cloud. And additionally, part of our secret sauce are these folks. It's the content that we create and the people that create it. It's engaging, quirky, and fun, in large part a reflection of the passionate community of heroes and cloud MVPs like Lars, Faye, and Broadus. They care deeply about their craft and the success of our learners, and it shows in the results. And because of this, learners understand actually how to do the job, not just learn the theory needed to pass an exam. In fact, we ran the numbers, and on average, a learner completes a cert path on A Cloud Guru every 4 minutes. And our students that sit for cert exams report an average pass rate of over 90%. Now that's an incredible stat that really talks to the effectiveness of the learning approach and the practical skills that are learned at scale. But cloud maturity is a journey, not just a certification. And that journey can take any number of paths these days, whether it be the different services that you adopt, the different clouds that you might be using in an increasingly multi-cloud world, or just the people and skills that you have in the team today. There's no longer one right path to cloud. And how many of you have already had teams diving into the cloud, but instead of seeing costs go down, you've actually seen your infrastructure, tools, and service costs skyrocketing? That's the path of high cloud adoption with low maturity. Conversely, how many of you have a cloud center of excellence or a highly skilled team of certified cloud individuals, but just a few workloads in the cloud or apps? That's high cloud maturity, but low cloud adoption. It's like a very expensive but ineffective science project. And the reality is that the cloud journey for most organizations looks a lot like this. It's a topsy-turvy path where you're trying to balance priorities, investments, experimentation, and talent. It's easy to get started, but without the right guidance, you're going to learn on the job, and you might get there in the end, but only if you don't run out of money and people first. A Cloud Guru is your secret weapon in the journey to cloud success. We're already helping guide organizations and teams beyond that initial certification phase and build out those deep expertise and specialist skills that they need to drive their business forward. More than 60% of our content already covers topics beyond certification prep and helping learners solve real practical cloud problems today in critical areas like containerization, security, DevOps, and of course cost control, or FinOps as it's being called these days. And we also help cloud leaders understand how to guide their teams through complex cloud transformations, or even just learn what roles and skills they need in the team to be effective in cloud today. But it's not just about the content that we produce. We've combined the best content with cloud-specific product experiences that allow learners to practice and apply their knowledge in real-world environments and scenarios on demand. Because no one has the time to go and do a 40-hour certification course when they need to solve a real problem in production today. To help with that, ACG now exclusively offers more than 2,000 hands-on labs, both with step-by-step instruction as well as challenge labs with tasks and validation to know if they can actually do the thing they need to do in prod, across all the major service providers at the click of a button. We also provide unlimited access to pre-configured servers for AWS, Azure, and GCP, as well as sandboxes. And today we're saving businesses hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars per user in configuration, maintenance, and security costs that we take on for them. But most importantly, these environments are integrated tightly into our learning environment, which means not only are they places to practice and play, but they help learners deliver on those outcomes and for organizations that they set out to achieve. Now, speaking of sandboxes, and going back to that stat that Aaron called out earlier, that 8% of technologists who don't have the practical skills, it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm really excited about a product capability that we're launching today that will help bridge that gap between cloud literacy and practical expertise. So please join me in welcoming Haley, one of our awesome product managers from the Cloud Hands-On team, to give a quick live demo of an exciting new capability in this area that is just about to launch.
Thanks, Ben. As Ben mentioned, we're seeing a huge rise in the need for specialized cloud talent. In fact, over 80% of corporations report that cloud security failures, data breaches, and out-of-control costs were some of the top challenges to their cloud implementation. So with this need for specialized cloud talent, we have to face the question, how can we help you as an organization transition your employees from learning cloud in theory to learning cloud your way without risking your live cloud environment? Well, as Ben and Gary mentioned, I'm here to share with you today the solution to this: custom cloud sandboxes. Custom cloud sandboxes are a powerful tool that gives your teams a safe and risk-free way to build cloud skills in an environment customized to your cloud infrastructure. But let's take a step back for a minute. What do I mean when I say a cloud sandbox? Well, with our traditional cloud sandboxes on the ACG platform, learners are given access to an empty cloud environment, like the AWS console, with nothing set up in it. It's a great way for learners to practice and play around with different cloud services. But now, with a custom Cloud Sandbox, learners can access a completely pre-configured environment set up by you where they can safely and quickly build the skills needed for on-the-job success. So let me paint a picture for you. Let's say you're the director of learning and development, and you're trying to figure out how can we help new employees take cloud skills that they're learning in their training courses and apply them in a real cloud environment. But you're definitely not ready for them to get into production yet. Well, let's take a look on how you can do that with our new Custom Cloud Sandboxes feature. On our ACG platform, you'll be able to create a template that mimics your production environment with the cloud services and configurations that you want automatically spun up in your employee's sandbox. Things like S3 buckets, EC2 instances, and so on. After you create this template, our team will review it and use it to provision customized sandboxes that your learners can start easily with the click of a button. And not only that, you'll also be able to create multiple of these sandboxes to serve your various training needs, like DevOps, to engineering, and beyond. Now, let's jump into the learner view of this. Your employees will be able to spin up a custom sandbox assigned to them whenever they want. They'll have the time to build confidence in skills specific to their job role in a secure and controlled environment before hopping into your production to do the real thing. If you take a look here on the screen, your employee is logging into one of the custom sandboxes assigned to them, and as they go over to their resources page in AWS, they can see a list of all the resources you have already pre-configured for them in their environment so they can get started working right away. No setup required. So not only are we providing this amazing learning opportunity for your employees, we're also helping you as an organization eliminate security concerns, ongoing maintenance, and accidental charges because we take care of the cost of building, managing, and securing your sandboxes for you. Now, this is all pretty exciting, right? But the fun doesn't stop there. We've also added a new extended time limit feature to our sandboxes that allows your employees to extend their sandbox session from 4 to 8 hours. That's an entire workday where we're maintaining your employee's sandbox throughout meetings, breaks, and whatever else comes up during their training time. Now, it is so great when we get to have some customer feedback on these new features. And actually, Alexander Arts, one of our customers with NordCloud, shared with us that custom cloud sandboxes provide the flexibility we need to create customized, immersive experiences instead of generic, fragmented training. Sounds pretty cool, right? Well, just like Alex, you can use customized sandboxes to create specialized cloud talent by targeting specific skills, onboarding new employees, discovering new services, and just creating space to safely experiment. Overall, we just cannot wait to see you get started in doing cloud your way with our custom cloud sandboxes feature. Now, please join me in welcoming Eiling Chang, our SVP of Product on the Skills Shared platform, to share a quick update on our journey in bringing a cloud guru and skills together.
Ain't my fault that I'm out here getting loose. Gotta blame it on the goose. Gotta blame it on my juice, baby. Ain't my fault.
Thanks, Haley. That was some great stuff. So as Gary mentioned, if you know our product, you know that it's been built to help companies develop the tech skills they need across all key topics. And that's not all it's been built for. The value of our product is truly unlocked when you can use it to access information about skills progress that helps you make better decisions about your business every day. Liz and Kelsey will touch on that in just a moment. For now, I want to highlight that our goal is to help you become creators of talent. And we know that means providing you with fit-for-purpose solutions that help you access the breadth and depth of expertise to upskill and reskill your teams, and the underlying insights and analytics that drive action, starting with cloud. By bringing ACG into our skills product, we're combining the power of our cloud platform and its ability to help you go deep on cloud transformation with the power of our skills platform and its ability to provide insights and analytics about skills progress. We want it to be easy for you to access what you need from a single source while seeing the value of your investment in one place. Our first goal is to help you leverage the best of both platforms so that your teams can gain deep expertise in cloud, access to T-shaped skills, and the ability to measure and quantify returns. In the beginning, we'll start by making it easy for you to access what you need between platforms and move between them, accessing improved labs, discovering content, and seeing insights and analytics in one place. We're planning releases in 2023, but you may start to see things come together sooner. And in the future, our goal is to be the place that you and your teams go to gain skills in all core technologies and to make the experience tailored to your journey. This means that when you land in your experience, we want it to be relevant to your context and your goals. Ultimately, this is about making it as easy as possible for you to access the value of your investment in Pluralsight Skills. Up next, we're going to talk about what we're doing to help teams across your companies develop tech fluency. I'm so excited to introduce you to Megan Manfrey and Simon Allardyce, who have been an instrumental part of bringing this vision to life.
So let's talk about tech fluency. Now, first, we can admit this phrase isn't perfect, but any of the other words and terms that we might use, like digital fluency, tech literacy, digital transformation, none of them are ideal, but some can be more useful, like this idea of fluency. Because you can ask, what does it mean to be fluent in tech, the same way that you can ask, what does it mean to be fluent in French or German or Japanese? And the answer is always, it depends. And that's not being vague or evasive, it's that we recognize there are levels of fluency. I mean, most languages have formalized ways to recognize this, but even without this, we kind of know. Fluency means one thing if your goal is to be a translator at the United Nations, but it's quite a different thing, and for most people a bit more relevant if your goal is to be fluent enough to walk into a restaurant and order a meal. But even that basic idea of fluency just still implies this level of comfort. There's a willingness to actually engage, to take part. And without that, you're not fluent. I mean, we all know people who've studied a foreign language for years. They could take a test on how to conjugate verbs. They could pass a vocabulary exam, but still, after all of that time, they've never felt comfortable enough to actually have a real conversation. Because the fact is, if all you know is a bunch of facts about grammatical structure and verb tense, that doesn't mean very much without also having that motivational and behavioral shift. One of the most fundamental aspects of being fluent in languages or in technology is you're willing to have a conversation that you wouldn't have had before. We'll come back to this.
The great thing about talking tech fluency at Navigate is that we don't have to stand here and say, did you know there's a technical skills shortage? Yes, you know, we all do. This room is filled with people who engage with this problem every single day. But it is a different problem than it was even a few years ago. Today, you need technical knowledge across your entire workforce. Now, your developers, do they need to know, do they need to understand cloud computing and Agile? Yes, absolutely. But your HR professionals, they should also understand the advantages and the limitations of platforms. Your marketing managers, they stand to benefit from engaging with automation. Business analysts should understand AI. L&D professionals should speak the language of security. Today, you need more people having more tech-centric conversations. Today, you need more people who can recognize the problems that technology solves. Today, you need greater technical acumen woven into the very fabric of your business up and down the org chart.
And the thing is, we're Pluralsight, okay? So you don't find courses here that teach basket weaving and flower arranging. We teach technology skills. That is our DNA. That's why we exist. But the way we might have taught technical skills to people in technical practitioner roles, this doesn't work when they're in this mixed audience idea, this general mix of both technical and non-technical roles. You have different goals, different motivations, different expectations about what that entire experience should be. So for this audience and for this purpose, we are taking a different approach. Instead of providing access to a library with thousands of courses, yes, we still have that, but we're providing a program. It's a structured set of content. And the program is designed for this reason, for tech fluency across the organization. And the content is designed for this audience, this mixture of technical and non-technical roles. Well, for a quick overview, take a look.
Thank you. Tech Foundations is an intentionally concise, focused curriculum. The program is only 12 courses, each less than 40 minutes, so about 8 hours in total, teaching the most relevant, widely applicable technologies of today. Technologies like cloud computing, AI, IoT, automation, blockchain. And with these courses, learners gain the vocabulary, the breadth of knowledge, and the context needed to be conversational.
And to do this, unlike, let's say, some other places, we are not just packaging up a bunch of content that we already had. That doesn't work. This is not old wine in new bottles. This content is all fit for purpose. It is made for this audience. It's made for this business case. It has to be engaging and accessible to hold the learner's attention, to make it easier to just keep watching, just keep involved a little bit longer. So it's all high context, it's conversational, fast-paced, short clips, tons of variety, something new happening on screen every 20, 30 seconds. We use physical props to make this material more relevant, more real, more authentic, easier to connect with. And if there isn't a real physical artifact to use, we'll use digital artifacts and interact with them on screen. As a rule, you will never see bullet points in these courses. We use live action, animation, motion graphics to keep the learner visually engaged, to make it easier to just enjoy it, just watch a little bit more, all done with a ton of attention to detail and where the learner is at the center of it all, and not just the content, but the entire experience.
Tech Foundations is a guided learning experience, one where we put absolutely no curation onus on the learner. Learners begin on the program page, and here they can see the breadth of the entire experience in a single glance. The topics are ordered as a grid, and that's because we didn't want to enforce this sequence on learners. With Tech Foundations, we aim to create learner agency. We want learners to find a topic of interest and to dive right in. And when they do, on the topic page, they'll see both a course and an assessment. Again, we want this to be a self-directed experience, so a learner can choose to start with either. If they choose to start with the assessment, it functions as a pre-assessment, where learners can demonstrate their knowledge and assess out, saving time for what they do want to learn. And for those with learning to do, the assessment functions as a post-assessment, where learners can take the assessment after they've watched the course. Regardless, the assessment is brief and easy to understand. And upon completion, a learner's conversational knowledge has been scored. Along with their score, learners also receive a recommendation for further review based on any questions they may have answered incorrectly. Upon successfully completing the assessment, learners receive a score towards program progress, with 1 point for each topic. The scoring system makes success easy to understand, and the design of the program makes success easy to achieve.
And the thing is, there are so many choices throughout this program to make it feel like a growth experience, not a compliance one. But I would sympathize. This all begs the question, does it actually work? Does it make a difference? Well, here's just a few of our favorite quotes from people who've been through this. And if I had to pick just one, it is the, I thought this would be stupid, like some ethics or security training, but I absolutely loved it. I ended up binging them like a Netflix show. That is the kind of response we're looking for with this experience. That is the kind of response that we're getting.
Over the last couple of years, we've implemented a version of this program with a few of our largest partners. And with them, we've learned what works and doesn't in terms of the content, as well as driving these programs on an organizational level. The tech foundations you see today is a result of this learning, and it works. We're creating tech fluency at scale today across some of the world's largest enterprise organizations.
And it is becoming a way to shift that organizational mindset around technology, where you have more and more people able to recognize where technologies can help. They understand how the tools and the applications they use every day help the business and where all of this fits together. And it's designed to deliver those light bulb moments, those, oh, now I understand why people talk about this technology. I get what this does. I get why this is important. To increase that sense of comfort, the identity shift, that someone would join a meeting about machine learning that they might have avoided before. They would pick up and read that article they would never have read before. They would have that conversation they wouldn't have had before. We couldn't be happier with how well this program has been working. We have been blown away by the response to it, and we are incredibly excited to finally make Tech Foundations more broadly available. Back to Gary.
Thank you, Simon and Megan. As we heard earlier from Dan Branham of KPMG, technology fluency can be a superpower for your organization. Let's talk about what also needs to be there to help make this successful. Here's just a few of the tips. One is make sure you're creating time for your team and recognizing the work that they're doing. If you don't create time, they won't do it. You also have to make sure that you have executive sponsorship. You need to be talking about it in town halls. There needs to be a voice at the highest levels of the organization. You also need to make sure that you're connecting it to the long-term goals of the company. You can't just be talking about right now and what's happening tomorrow. This has to be tied with career journeys for the individuals. And of course, you have to make sure that there's incentivization and also enablement for frontline leaders. I can tell you this right now, there's a strong possibility my hair is going to turn pink as we roll Tech Foundations out internally here at Pluralsight if we hit 100%. Tech Foundations is ready for you and your talent transformation today. And if you don't feel like you're ready, don't worry, you don't need to go it alone. We have the playbook and offer program support with professional services to help you through this journey. The one thing I'd ask here is do not leave this week without checking out Tech Foundations yourself firsthand and talking with our teams here. So far, we have covered 2 of the new product experiences that are built from the ground up to meet specific needs. And what we've learned is that success with any of these learning experiences is multiplied when it is paired with programmatic approach to skills development and a healthy culture of learning. Here to speak with us about how to create a meaningful outcome and a killer learning culture is my friend and skills customer, Dave Carnes, VP of Learning at Travelers Insurance. Dave, come on out, man.
Thanks, Gary.
Awesome. So for those here that aren't familiar,
Hang on one second. I don't know about all of you. I want to see his hair turn pink. So if everybody can get on Tech Foundations right away, That would be really good. All right, sorry, go ahead.
So for those not familiar with Travelers Insurance,
Yeah.
you are one of the US's largest insurance companies for individuals, for auto, for businesses.
Yep.
How does technology play into this insurance company?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago, we'd be like, okay, how does it fit? But I would think everybody in this room agrees that all of our organizations are technology driven, and it's so crucial. And that's no different at Travelers. I think of a few examples of what we're doing where we're leaning into machine learning, to aerial imagery, and using that and leveraging that to pre-fill our property quotes around the attributes of the property, which in turn is allowing us to quote at such a more rapid rate. Something else is using geospatial technology and data to drive our decision making for before and after type events. So it's incredibly important. But when it comes to this with the technology, that requires innovation, right? And it requires us to be relentless about our pursuit to use the latest technology. Well, with innovation comes the need to drive learning, to equip our talent, our people, with not only the skills of today, but the skills that we need for the future.
Yeah. So, it's truth. Everyone has become a software company at this point in time.
There you go.
So what does a healthy learning culture look like for you?
Yeah. To me, a healthy learning culture is an environment where everyone is a student and a teacher. And oftentimes, that's in the same day. And it doesn't matter, what role they play, the seniority in the organization. It's irrelevant. The other piece is it's an environment where sharing knowledge is as valued as having knowledge. And in some cases, even more. And learning requires true vulnerability. We need to be vulnerable in our learning because we need to be able to admit that we have gaps, that we don't know it all. And that is an incredibly difficult thing to do at any stage in life, and it's even harder at work. So we've got to, it's our responsibility, this group here with our teams, to create the right learning culture that fosters an environment that helps people to feel comfortable, to be able to admit that they have gaps, that creates psychological safety. For us at Travelers, we're on a journey to create a best-in-class learning organization that ensures that continuous learning is recognized, it's rewarded, and it's expected. It is just part of who we are. It's part of our DNA, and it's built into the place.
Yeah. So I know so many of the people that we've been talking about are trying to evolve their culture of learning.
Yeah.
You've now had the opportunity to do this at both BNY Mellon and now Travelers.
Yep.
So what are some of the tips and tricks that we can share with the group
Yeah.
from your own experiences?
Yeah, certainly. One thing I just mentioned is we got to create an environment of psychological safety. People need to be able to be open and comfortable, as I said, admitting that they don't know everything, that they have gaps. The other thing that's happening is that culture is continuously forming and unforming all around us. And it's regardless if we're involved in it or not. So I always say, be intentional with it. Go and create that culture that you want and recognize that every interaction that you have in your organization, every communication, every messaging that you send is an opportunity to influence it and build it to be what you need it to be. Next is you need to be relentlessly consistent with your messaging. So important. If you were to ever attend town halls with me, whether it's the beginning of the year, later in the year, the next year, my messaging is always consistent. The next thing is find your game changers. Find your influencers early on. Build a community around them. Because this type of movement is truly top down and bottom up. And it really does take everyone to accomplish this. And it's a true journey. You're never going to hang up the hat and say, hey, I built my learning culture, I'm done with it, and you're going to walk away. It doesn't work that way. You're continuously working at it.
So I think we've shared a few things that worked along the way, but there's probably been a few that haven't worked along the way. And
Of
I think
course,
this is
always
important to
failures,
share.
right? Fail fast.
Anything to share with the group of like, hey, we thought this was going to work, but maybe not as much as you thought?
Early on in the journey, for me, one of the things that I found is I didn't lean in hard enough on getting buy-in. I think we all know that we need our senior leaders to buy in the vision of where we're going. And I really didn't put enough emphasis or focus on getting some of the fringe leaders that were still maybe stuck with a little bit of a legacy mindset. And it's incredibly important to go and do that, selling into the organization, selling in at all levels of the organization. So, that messaging is so important. One of the greatest moments, culture is one of those things, like, we can look at metrics, we can look at engagement surveys, and all of that stuff matters and influences how our culture is doing. But one of the sweetest moments you'll find when you're seeding these types of things in an organization is you'll attend a business meeting, a town hall or something that maybe another CIO or a line of business is running, and it has nothing to do with learning. Learning's not even playing a role in it, and they're using the language and the words that you've seeded into the company. We dubbed the travelers at the beginning of the year. I dubbed 2022 the year of learning. I just sat down with a new hire the other day and had a conversation, and she's 2 weeks in, and she said the most consistent thing that she's heard since she joined Travelers is that it's the year of learning. That everybody's talking about it. To me, that's that woohoo moment of like, okay, this is starting to take traction, and that's what you're going for.
That's awesome. So one last question. You've partnered with my teams and us at Pluralsight for years now.
Yeah.
What and how have you thought about how you partner with Pluralsight Skills to ultimately translate the learning into actual business outcomes?
Yeah, that's great. So everything goes back to learning. I'm sure all of you that are knee deep in the learning space, much like our friend from SHRM was saying, HR is at the center of everything. Learning is at the center of everything. Learning is a strategic partner to drive it. But the key thing is having the right skills at the right time. And Pluralsight is a strategic partner in relationship for us. And what Pluralsight Skills does is actually give us the capability and resources to provide that just-in-time, on-demand learning for our people. And one of the things, and Gary, I've talked about this frequently, to me, the game changer when it comes to skills is skill IQ. Hands down, skill IQ is the most important thing. And not only, if you think about it, does it give our learners the most efficient way to upskill and close their learning gaps, it gives us that ever-important skill proficiency data. I think Aaron mentioned it, others have mentioned it just this morning. We need to know where we are from a skills proficiency level so that then we can figure out, align where we're going with our tech roadmaps. What's our median time to take someone from an advanced Python developer to an expert? Because you know what, we've got a project that needs 5 of them in 6 months. We're getting to a place where we can start to predict that outcome, and it's a direct result of that platform. But in order to get that data, you're going to do all the stuff we just talked about. Get the psychological safety, build it, but just get started. Don't wait for perfection, and be excited about it.
Yeah, I love that. Just get started, because that is single-handedly the most important advice we can share.
Yes.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for taking time to come join us. For those of you here, please, to the connect and learn and share, reach out to Dave while he's here. Connect, learn, share. I'm sure there's things that you can share with him as well. So, Dave,
thanks, Gary.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. To build on what we just heard from Dave, learning culture isn't valuable if you're not able to measure the impact. So I'd like to welcome Liz Repetto, VP of Product for Skills, Insights, and Curation, to share more about how you get the most out of Pluralsight Skills. Liz, come on out.
Thanks, Gary. All right, clearly Gary and I shop at the same store. It is so great to be here and have an opportunity to talk about programmatic learning. I want to circle back to some of the headwinds that Gary mentioned earlier. How macroeconomic trends mean we're all feeling a little bit of a squeeze, being asked to do more with the same resources, or maybe even less. And even if you can hire, hiring shortages and talent shortages mean you may not be able to hire your way out of a skills gap, let alone with all those competing priorities to make time to skill up within. We're all being asked to make smarter use of the tools that we already have in our tool set in order to remain competitive. So let's talk about these tools in our tool set. We heard about the culture of learning and how critically important it is. And indeed, the customers that I see navigating these headwinds really well are doing just that. They're embracing the culture of learning, which creates an engaged, healthy culture that's bought into the program. But secondly, that programmatic approach, it ensures that all of that learning time is focused on the outcomes that matter most. Skip the former, and you don't have that engagement, you don't have that buy-in. And skip the latter, and all of that great learning won't be focused on what matters most to your business. So, I said programmatic learning, but what do I mean by that? Well, it's really thinking like any project. You've got a goal in mind, something that you're trying to achieve, and you know where you are right now. So you've got to craft a plan to get there. Now, with programmatic learning, that means mapping out the skills and roles that you need and crafting a data-driven plan to get you there. This is that upskilling and reskilling solution that Aaron mentioned earlier. And we can partner with you to deliver this end-to-end. So let's illustrate this with an example. I was recently working with a customer team, and they were going through a massive rewrite for their search engine. And they were looking to take a ton of product and customer data and build out an AI-driven results and recommendations experience. Now, big project coming up. I can see customers in this situation take what Gary talked about as sort of that check-the-box scenario. I've invested in a great learning platform. I've got a tech project coming up. Nailed it. If you build it, they will come. Turns out that's not super effective. Now, let's contrast that with programmatic learning. But I can't do that alone, so please join me in inviting Kelsey Clark, our product manager for analytics and insights. Kelsey. Great color. I see you got the memo. Very good. All right. You heard our story backstage. We want to talk about upskilling and using a programmatic approach using skills analytics. So let's set our stage. We're refactoring and reinvesting in our search engine.
Got it?
Right. Cool. Yeah. All right. So first things first. Let's map out the roles and skills that we need. So in this scenario, the customer thankfully had a few machine learning engineers to choose from and a great stack of full stack engineers and data scientists. Great. So there was a sense that we had enough skills to put together that we could legitimately upskill somebody into a machine learning engineer. So let's take a look at how we would do that with this skills product and understand and get an inventory of the skills that we have.
Awesome, Liz. Well, in order to do this, we need to learn where our skill set currently is and where those skill gaps are. We have a couple of different ways to get a full look at who's already engaging in the related content to machine learning engineer. First, we can use the predefined subjects that Pluralsight Skills provides to us that we all know and love. So for this example, I know I want engineers that know Python. So I could take a look here to find our existing talent. In addition to this, I'm very excited to say that soon we'll be making it possible to create a custom skill group. This is going to allow us to select varying subjects and skills that are unique to what we need internally. When I first looked at that Python subject, I noticed right away that not all topics were pertinent to what we need here. I want a combination of skills that pull from different subjects. Custom skill groups allows us to flexibly identify those related skills, and it allows us to define what we think is important for this role internally. This will allow us to expand the scope of our inventory and identify the subject areas that our learners can grow into.
I love it. All right, so now that we've crafted this custom skill group and we have a good sense of what the role would look like for us and what our needs are, how would we go about using this wonderful skill group to get that inventory of the skills that we have in-house and create that plan?
Well, now that we've created this custom skill group, we can jump in there and we can identify the inventory of learners who are already engaging with our chosen skills and subjects. We've been talking about inventory a lot here, though. So you may be wondering what inventory even means.
Yeah, good point.
Inventory helps us find those pockets of existing skills within our teams to help us answer big questions like, how can I find individuals who are already skilled? And how can I encourage more individuals to skill up? Or on the flip side, do I need to start thinking about hiring new talent?
Exactly.
Here, I can see each individual who is already engaged with our chosen skills and subjects. We can see their individual skill proficiency if they took an assessment. But as I'm noticing, not all engaged learners have assessed. So to continue to build our inventory and see where our current organization skill lie as a whole, I can invite these engaged users to assess. This allows me to verify that our existing team members can help us close that skill gap.
Thank you so much. All right, so we've gotten the inventory of the skills that we already have, and now we're ready to upskill and really close those gaps. Could you walk us through how we would do that in our product?
Yeah, would love to. As you mentioned earlier, individuals can go in and find courses on their own. But let's bring it back to the programmatic approach that you were mentioning. We can now that we're clear on those skills where they currently stand, we can now create a custom channel with the related courses and subjects. We can then invite those already engaged learners and additional team members. This is going to help us provide the courses necessary to assist them in growing their skill set. And in addition to this, it's going to help us find and encourage additional learners in our organization to explore the opportunity of becoming a machine learning engineer.
So, can we go back one slide for me? Actually, go ahead. Never mind. Thanks for riding along with me, friends. All right, so thank you, Kelsey. Now, of course, longtime customers are likely very aware of our in-app, web-based, self-driven learning experience. But I also want to highlight that because Pluralsight Skills also offers instructor-led training, both virtual and in person, that we can offer something that nobody else can to close those skill gaps. A powerful blended learning approach that maps where you are right now and helps to close the skill gaps that you have, really specific to your needs. So before developing a program, we'll engage in a detailed discovery process to learn about where you're trying to go and how we can help you achieve them. And then we pair the self-paced learning from Pluralsight Skills and all the power of Skill IQ with that hands-on practice and instructor-led training to make sure that your teams are prepared to use those new skills right within your own environment. So, whether your employees are skilling up in-app or elsewhere, you can always come back to Skills and Skill IQ to validate and inventory your team's evolving skills. All right, so let's go back to our example, shall we? Let's say some time has passed, and we want to get a sense of how we're progressing towards our upskilling goals. How would we know and do that within our app?
Well, I really love this question, Liz, because we have some powerful insights that's not going to only help us track the engagement of our users, but our organization's skill progression. Let's go back to our inventory report with that custom skill group we created earlier. This is going to show us our learners' skill proficiency over time as they grow and develop. We'll be able to see the overall group trend over time, the skill level breakdown for our organization, and very exciting, coming soon, individual skill progression. So you'll be able to see each assessment each learner has taken, where their skill set started, and where they've grown to.
Thanks, Kelsey. All right, so.
Great stuff, guys. Great stuff.
Okay. So now that, oops, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Now that we have our programmatic approach, we've reached the end of our plan. We have confidence that we can deliver, and better yet, we've gathered an inventory of our skills. So we know the skills that we can pull from to plan for upcoming projects and be prepared for our next upskilling project. And so with that, thank you, Kelsey. Thank you all, and back to Gary.
All right, well, thank you to Liz and Kelsey, and honestly, the whole Skills team that's been out here today. These are just some of the amazing goodies that are now available in the Skills platform. As Aaron touched on earlier today, the Skills tech operating system is only getting more and more powerful. So whether it be what we talked about today with cloud and tech foundations, or the number of options that we have with security, software developer, IT ops, data, design and management, and so much more in the platform, these offerings are curated by some of the best experts in the entire world to be as efficient and effective as possible. That is ultimately purpose-built content right there for you. When it comes to measurement and guidance, we just heard from them. Learning means little without data and driving outcomes. We talked about the continued focus that we're going to do when it comes to analytics to give you the information that you need to run your business. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, that the Skills immersive experiences are second to none right now. We are still the only vendor providing hands-on experiences for dev, for cloud, for data, for security, and IT ops, all on a single platform. That's shown to have a higher engagement and 75% greater retention of knowledge when you practice what you learn while you learn it. These hands-on learning experiences are absolutely critical for every technologist to be able to keep up with the pace of change today. So as I wrap up here today, I want to have a little bit of a reminder. This is a special event. We are all here with our peers. So remember that we want to learn, we want to connect, and we want to share with each other. But most importantly, if I can have you remember one thing, just one thing from all this, don't just think of Pluralsight as a world-class content provider. We are that, and I'm really incredibly proud of that. But think of us as your technology workforce partner. When questions or needs arise, we're here to help. Let us be that first call. Let us be the partner to help you on this journey. With our awesome products, the white glove services, and our influential network, we're all here to help. So thank you for your time, and have a great Navigate 2022.
Look on my face as I walk through the door.